This is our new syllabus, Mechanics 1 for AS level. This book is written by Mohammad Afrasiab, and this is the title page of that book. I will explain each and everything in this book for you. The first thing is the definition of the mechanics. It is the branch of applied mathematics which deals with the mass, speed, velocity, acceleration, force, weight, work, power, energy, etc. of these different particles. It is divided it into two categories, static and dynamic. Static is that branch when the particles are rest and then their properties are discussed. Dynamic when the particles are in motion and then their properties are discussed. It is divided it into two categories. One is known as to be called kinetic and the other is known as to be called kinematic. Kinematic means when motion is considered without source of force, and kinetic is that branch when motion is considered with source of force. So let me explain first that what do you mean by the without source of force and with source of force. Since mechanics is going to be used for these two categories, one is known as to be called static part and other is known as to be called dynamic part. This is when the particles are at rest and then you are going to consider the properties, and dynamic means when the particles are in motion and then you are going to discuss the properties. This dynamic part is further categorized into two. One is known as to be called kinematic and other is known as to be called kinetic. Kinematic means without source of force. What do you mean by this? Suppose car travels from A to B with different velocities and acceleration and other things. But in this case, we never consider the source of force. As we know that the source of force for that particle is fuel, but we never discuss the fuel here. We just discuss the motion there. So that branch in which without source of force is being considered, that is known as to be called kinematic there. And kinetic is that with source of force. Suppose you throw a ball upward or downward. You just write about the ball is thrown, but you never discuss here that what is about the source there. But we know already that the source of the force in this part is gravity. So it is moving under the influence of the gravity there. So this thing is known as to be called in mechanics as kinetic, and other branch is known as to be called kinematic there. Then there are certain assumptions which will be used in the mechanics 1. That means they are not being considered in the solution of the question there. Although they exist, but we don't consider them. All particles of the different masses, they are being considered as a single particle. Number two, no air resistance is being considered, although air resistance exists, but we don't consider that. Part three, strings, ropes, wires, they are all the things are being considered to be massless. Although string has certain mass, a rope has certain mass, but we don't consider their masses. So that is what they will be considered as massless. Fourth, no extension. That means what? Strings, although they are extensible, but we consider here inextensible wires are the strings there. That means no Hooke's law will be applied in this part. Then no friction is there due to the pulleys. Pulley certainly offers certain friction, but we don't consider the friction of those pulleys there. So pulleys will be considered as frictionless. Then physical quantities and their units of the measurements are given in this table. Distance or displacement that is measured in meters, velocity or speed that is measured in meters per second or kilometers per hour, time is measured in seconds, hours, minutes, mass is going to be considered in kgs or grams, acceleration or deceleration is going to be considered as meters per second square or kilometers per hour square, force, weight, normal reaction force, frictional force, tension, that is being considered in the newtons, power is being measured in watts, kinetic energy and the production energy is measured in joules, work is measured in joules, density is measured in as kg per meter cube, weight is being measured in newtons, and the tension is measured also in the form of Newton there. So these are the units which are being used in this M1 there. Then conversion of the units. 60 seconds is equal to 1 minute for the time, 60 minutes is equal to 1 hour, 360 seconds is equal to 1 hour. For the distance, 100 centimeter is equal to 1 meter and 1000 meter is equal to 1 kilometer. For mass, 1000 grams is equal to 1 kg and 1000 kg is equal to 1 ton. And then there are certain problems which we are being used in this part there. So this is our first introduction about the mechanics one, that these are the units and this is the way that they are going to be used in this part of the mechanics there. Then in the second video, we will explain the conversion of these units, examples, along with the graphs of this velocity time and the displacement time graphs one by one later on.